Hey everyone, so my name's Mr. Stokes. I am Miss Hoke's student teacher in a 3rd and 4th grade classroom. Now today, I'm going to be reading a book called A Camping Spree with Mr. Magee. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. Magee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, then hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea. 2 nights of camping, possibly 3. There's nothing like camping, said Mr. Magee. I know you will love it. Just you wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from wildlife, there's no one around. And the air is so sweet. You'll sleep like a log, said Mr. Magee to his small spotted dog. A few hours later, they took a sharp right. They found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. Perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Dee gathered all the pine cones, branches, and logs. Magee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. That sounds pretty good. As the sun set, far distant knolls, they sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. Oh, they're making s'mores. As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy. They climbed into the bunk beds, all warm and cozy. But when they were falling asleep without a care, along came stumbling a bumbling bear. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear, which means couldn't see far. Far or near. But he could smell the marshmallows, sticky and sweet. The smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. He sniffed out the place where the marshmallows lay, but the car and the camper went the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing under the hitch, and as he was shimmying into the gap, he pushed up the hitch, which let go with a snap. Uh-oh, that's not good. Now the camper and the car were untied. They started rolling down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old loggy road, while the camper was heading where the stream flowed. It flew down the hill in a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and Magee sleeping soundly inside. They're heavy sleepers. They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream. Then a splash went the camper right into the stream. The splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that? Mr. Magee said. And he looked out and saw where they were. His hair stood on end, so did Dee's fur. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab right for a big waterfall. Dee and Magee both started to quiver as faster and faster they headed down the river. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, the camper got stuck on the rock on the ledge. So there they were, stranded. Magee and his pup on top of a waterfall, 50 feet up. Meanwhile, the nearsighted bear from before was searching for one more marshmallow. When lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spies something sweet floating in the stream. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped right in the river up to his thighs. He splashed around the stream to the edge of the fall, and he snatched up the trailer hitch, camper and all. Dee felt a tug. Magee heard a knock as the bear pulled the camper right off the rock. He dragged them both all the way to the bank when he realized the hitch was not so sweet, but quite rank. He spit out the hitch and left in dismay, while Magee and Dee's camper again rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar and stopped in some bushes right next to the car. Dee popped over her head. Magee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last, things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. On the way home, Magee said to Dee, that trip wasn't quite like I thought it would be. So when they got home, the sky turned red. They decided to camp in the backyard instead. That was a really good book. Well, thank you guys for listening in. Have a good day.